Compare and contrast characters from Level F, Lesson 21, Practice 1. Authors include specific details to help readers imagine the characters, settings, and events in their stories. You can compare and contrast key details about characters, setting, and events to better understand each element as well as the story as a whole. Follow along and listen as the story is read aloud. Pay attention to the lives and experiences of Melanie and Charlotte. What do the girls have in common? What is different? Season's greetings. Mel, honey. Mom shook Melanie's shoulder gently. It's time to get up. Already? Melanie moaned. Ugh. She pried her eyes open and looked at the clock. 6:45. Outside, the sky was dark as midnight. She could hear the wind whipping around their 7th-floor apartment and the click, click, click of sleet hitting the window. In the kitchen, her mom was humming the song Winter Wonderland. She was getting into the spirit of the season. Mom, she called, did you check online? Maybe school's canceled. No such luck, kid. Her mom's voice floated down the hall. Actually, it was lucky school was still open, Melanie realized. Today was her last chance to write to Charlotte, her school pen pal, before Charlotte went on break. The thought got Melanie out of bed and into the shower. Breakfast was oatmeal. Again. Then she and Mom laced up their winter boots, wound scarves around their necks, bundled into heavy coats, and headed for the elevator. Shivering, Melanie slipped into the warm school building at 8:42. All day she looked forward to writing to Charlotte. Finally, at 2:20, it was time. She sat down at the keyboard. Dear Charlie, how are things in sunny Sydney? Things here in Chicago are cold, cold, cold. It's 23 degrees and there's ice everywhere. Mom makes me eat oatmeal every morning for breakfast because it's warming and sustaining. You know how you told me a hat is part of your school uniform? And kids all over Australia have to wear one at recess to protect them from the sun? Well, I wear a hat outside all the time now, too. Only mine isn't a sun hat. Grandma knitted it from thick wool, and it has ear flaps. If I go anywhere without it, my ears feel semi-frozen. You're so lucky it's summer where you are. And you're extra lucky that your school year ends today. Probably you'll be out on the beach tomorrow, right? I'll be at school. I'm so jealous. I am looking forward to winter break, though. It starts next week. We're going to my grandparents'. Grandpa says their pond is frozen solid, so we can ice skate. I'm really going to miss you, Charlie. It's been so fun learning about your life down under. Have the best summer vacation ever. Mel. What differences about the girls are revealed in the passage so far? Where does Melanie live? Where does Charlotte live? What is different about the two places? Which details mentioned in this passage do Melanie and Charlotte have in common? Did you catch the part about the hats? Both girls wear hats outside, but Melanie's is for warmth, while Charlotte's is a sun hat. Both are in school during the story, but Charlotte's summer vacation is about to start. Look at the map at the top of the slide. Chicago is in the northern hemisphere. Sydney is in the southern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, seasons are reversed. It is summer in Australia, while it is winter in the United States. Comparing and contrasting characters and where they live or the setting can help in the analysis of each character. Thinking about how characters are similar or different will help you understand the story. If there are conflicts among characters, thinking about how the characters are alike and different will also help you understand their problems. Focus on how each character looks, what each character thinks, says, and does, and how each character responds to events. Let's read the rest of the story to finish analyzing our characters. Bzzz. The final school bell rang at 3:45 to announce the end of Melanie's day, just as Charlotte's alarm clock on the other side of the world flipped to 6:45 a.m. Bzzz. Ugh, Charlotte moaned. She lay listening to the sound of the birds and watching the bright sunlight coming through her open window. Then she remembered it was the last day of school, her last chance to write to Melanie. Suddenly she felt wide awake. She jumped out of bed and grabbed her school uniform. She headed for the shower, humming Winter Wonderland. They played that all the time in shops this time of year, even though it made no sense. Then she thought, wow, I bet Mel is in a Winter Wonderland right now. They got time to write their pen pals during the first class, so Charlotte went straight to the computer when she arrived at school. Melanie's message was waiting for her. Dear Mel, funny that it's 23 degrees in Chicago, because it's 23 degrees here in the southern hemisphere too. 23 degrees Celsius. In Fahrenheit, that would be 74 degrees. I looked it up online. Nice and warm. Speaking of looking things up online, I wasn't sure what you meant when you said you had oatmeal for breakfast, so I looked that up too. I call that porridge, and I don't like it much. But I bet you wouldn't have liked my brekkie, Vegemite on toast. Ever heard of it? They say most non-Australians hate it, and maybe it is kind of weird. But a thin layer of Vegemite spread on buttered toast is delicious. Well, I'd like to write more, but Ms. Josephs is saying it's time for maths, so I've got to go. It's the very last maths class of Year 5. Thank goodness. Mel, I've been thinking. I reckon we could keep emailing, even though it's not for class anymore. Don't you? Yeah, and when I get back to school, you'll still be a 5th grader, and I'll be a sophisticated Year 6. But I'm still willing to be friends. So write me back, okay? I can keep using this address during my break. Talk to you soon. Charlie. Let's focus on more in-depth details about the characters. How do Melanie and Charlotte wake up? What does each girl say when she has to wake up? What does this tell the reader? Let's look at a Venn diagram that compares and contrasts the two girls. Melanie lives in Chicago, where it is winter and 23 degrees Fahrenheit. She eats oatmeal for breakfast. Charlotte, or Charlie, lives in Sydney, where it is summer and 23 degrees Celsius. She eats Vegemite on toast. Both girls are about the same age, live in a large city, they are ready for vacation, and they both say ugh when they wake up in the morning. The amount of focus given to each girl in the story reveals that they are equally important. Each girl is a main character in the story. Readers can compare and contrast characters by observing what they say, think, and do. Authors include specific details about characters, settings, and events in a story so relationships among characters can be analyzed.